John Iacafano is a small business owner and a Mount Pleasant resident for over 20 years. Now he wants to serve on Mount Pleasant Town Council to tackle issues such as protecting small businesses, infrastructure, housing, and jobs. I talk one-on-one with John for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. John Iacafano, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate being here. Thank you for giving your time for me. I know you do a really good thing for the community, and I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, you're very welcome. Anytime. Obviously, you are a Mount Pleasant small business owner for the past 20 years, and you have experience in restaurant and beyond. You have a wife and obviously kids as well. Now I understand that you want to run for Mount Pleasant Town Council. Why Mount Pleasant Town Council? Why John?
Well, I've been thinking about it for years, and there is no such thing as a perfect time, so I decided to jump in now. I am very busy. I've got 6 locations across the U.S. I started with $90 and absolutely nothing. So, and 3 kids that are in travel sports and in the public schools around here. But we're at a turning point right now in Mount Pleasant. We're at a turning point that we've got to understand the size that Mount Pleasant really is. And that when I moved here in '99, we're definitely not the same size, and we're not the same size that we were in the '70s. And we've got to get ahead of that growth. We've got to stop running. I remember when I had 3 locations and I opened up my 4th, and I didn't do that great on the 4th one. It was my Philly location, and we got our heads together and said the 3 locations were running great. Why, when we opened the 4th, did we not do as well? We had failures. We weren't serving as good as we should be serving, and we figured it out. And what we figured out was when we were running 3 kitchens, we were running it like it was 3 kitchens. So when we opened the 4th, we had to reinvent ourselves and reinvent ourselves and reinvent ourselves. So we started saying, let's start running the company like we have 10 kitchens. And we created that structure. We opened up 5 and 6, which was Denver and Cleveland. They're running great. So I think that's where we are now in the town. We keep running it like we have 70,000 people or 80,000 people or the currently 93,000 people. We have no master plan. We've got a 10-year compensation plan, but do we have a 25-year master plan? Here's where we're really headed. Here's where we're really going to end up. Now let's backfill that. And let's see how we can grow this city the right way. And I know people don't like that word growth, but there's certain growth that you're not going to stop. And if we understand that, we can work with that. But if we keep ignoring it, then that's where the lawsuits come in, the huge impact fees come in, and all those different things where we're constantly in a reactive state, and we need to be in a proactive state.
Okay. You moved here. Oh no,
that was a mouthful. Sorry.
Oh no, that's perfect. This is what Quintin's Close-Ups is all about.
Right.
But what has been the most important thing that's actually changed in Mount Pleasant in the past 4 years?
I think there's too much change from a town council standpoint. I think there's too much change. I mean, I want to use that word master plan again. I want to be able to stop this. I want to just have this constant, steady, proactive improvement instead of, you could build a building 80 feet. Now you got to build it 65 feet. You could build that building. Now you're not allowed to build that building. So we're changing the zoning, but you already own the property. Now we're going to get sued. And I think there's a lot of waffling back and forth. I'm telling you, I want less government. How do I take some control away from town council in the fact of when we create this master plan? That's the direction we're headed. We could tweak it a little bit, but with the collaboration of the residents, and when they make a 10-year comp plan, I think they bring about 250 people together for that or something like that. 250 residents, if I'm correct. So they're listening to the residents. They're listening. But we need to look at it. So the last 4 years, we've, what are we? I mean, we allow things, then we don't allow them, then we allow them, then we don't allow them. So I think that unsteadiness is what's really upsetting people. I think that's what's really upsetting people. We don't have enough sidewalks. We don't have enough green space. We don't have enough parks and recreation for our children. We don't have enough space for our seniors. We need to fix that, and we need bike paths. things of that sort. We've got a great plan. The Mount Pleasant Way is a great plan. And I even heard, so one of the first sections, if you've heard of the Mount Pleasant Way that connects all of Mount Pleasant through pedestrian thoroughfares, one of the first things I heard that they would like to do, and I'm 100% behind it, is a 14-foot sidewalk. That's a bike path, that's a pedestrian path, and that's a golf cart path. So if you want to lessen traffic in Mount Pleasant, people say stop the growth, which I understand where they're going. We need to create amenities around the neighborhood. You create a restaurant, you lower the impact fee. So let's say up in the north area, lower an impact fee to allow a 2,500 square foot restaurant to open without a $250,000 impact fee. You allow that restaurant to open. Now people don't have to drive, they can walk to a restaurant. So create amenities around neighborhoods that will lessen traffic.
Okay, what's more important for the town right now, John? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, and better utilizing the existing homes and storefronts?
B, rehabbing. B, and then some people, when I talk about some empty properties, they say, why do we have to build on that? Problem is with that is, if that land's been owned for 20 years and zoned business, it's very difficult to undo that. So people do have to understand that. Rehabbing, 100% agree with that. I mean, how do we create a business roundtable? How do we create an environmental roundtable in this town? I want roundtables of residents. That's what I'm looking for. Environmental. We've got different what do you want to call those, commissions or the town councils on. Right. Where's our roundtable? And I want an environmental roundtable, business roundtable. Let's go look at a shopping center. Let's talk to the owner of the shopping center and say, is this the best use of the land? And how do we create the best use for this land and get rid of what's called the broken, the police call it the broken glass, right? It takes more energy and taxpayer money to actually patrol an empty building than it does to patrol a building that has people in it and businesses in it. So I am all for, let's work with what we have first. I don't want to tear down any more trees. Trees soak up water. There's all kinds of wonderful things, create oxygen, very simple, but I don't want to tear down more trees. I don't want to pave paradise to put up a parking lot by any means, but let's maximize and let's put the smartest, most versatile buildings in its place, and let's have the environment involved in that discussion as well. Can we put a little park space in there? Can we make sure that our drainage is correct? Can we make sure that when we do impact fees, that if the impact fee says that this is going to impact traffic in this area and it's going to require a traffic circle or something of that sort, or a light, how about when they break ground on the building, we break ground on the traffic circle? Let's not wait 5 years. If we're going to charge what we're charging for an impact fee, or we know that there's an impact in the area, how about we start that construction immediately at the same time that the construction of the other building starts, so that when that area opens, that the traffic, that we have sidewalks and safe travel around. A lot of you'll see in a lot of areas where they'll build something and they'll say, hey, we want you to take that sidewalk down another quarter mile, even though that's not your land. We're going to wheel and deal here a little bit. We'd like you to connect all the way to the next sidewalk. These kind of things happen. We've got to look to the outside municipalities for advice on this. It's not always our job to be the smartest people in the room. It's just our job to get the smartest people into the room.
Where in the town do you identify and also develop those unique characteristics when it comes to residential, commercial, and mixed use?
Where do we do it? I'm sorry.
Where in the town do you identify and also develop those unique characteristics when it comes to residential, commercial, and mixed use?
Residential, commercial, mixed use. We have a couple great hubs, right? So you've got a hub. You've got these hubs coming right off the freeway systems. You got three major ones. You've got Long Point and 526, quarter mile to half mile off. You've got the bridge coming down 17, and then we have 526 and 17. So mixed use, and if I'm allowed to use the word density. So I've used a couple D words here. I'm not supposed to use development and density. But density, that mixed use, right? Live, work, play communities. You want to talk about getting rid of traffic. That's how you get rid of traffic. If I can leave my house, walk to work and walk to retail. Where I live, I walk to Trader Joe's, I walk to Whole Foods, I walk to Aldi's, I walk to, well, the park's being redone behind the municipal, behind town hall. I'm able to walk and ride my bike to all these locations. So there are pieces of land now. I mean, you've got a mixed use possibility at on Coleman Boulevard, Moultrie Plaza. That's always been discussed. I don't know what's going to happen there. Could have had mixed use at the old Miller Cadillac spot. Yeah. Again, we lowered the height from 80 to 65 feet. Not me. I'll use the word we, but that was done on the developers. We lost all those developers, and nothing against the car wash and nothing against the 7-Eleven. I believe that's going to be a beautiful building, but could there have been better use of that property by not changing the zoning, and that being our high district? So we've got to realize where our business hub areas are and what we're going to allow there. To me, 80 feet, there's a water tower right behind that Miller Cadillac spot. That thing's got to be 90 or 100 feet high. The bridge is 600 feet high. The hotels are so why did we lower it to 65 feet? Let's decide that this is where it's going to be, this is how it's going to be, and let's move forward. Let's go do something else. Let's go worry about the sidewalks in the parks that we have to worry about, and let's worry about generating long-term tax revenue. I know I just got off point there, but those high-density live, work, play areas, there's many spots that this can happen. I'm also trying to think, I mean, you've got a donut hole across from Chick-fil-A on Long Point Road. Right. Donut holes are very dangerous because we do not connect them into the city. I say city, 93,000 people town. If we don't correct, and we need to find out, why do we call ourselves a town over a city, which I love the town word. Is there a tax benefit? Do we get more grants or something by being a town still? And that's a question too, right? What is the coding of the municipality? What does that allow comparatively? But you've got a donut hole over there where where if we connect water and sewer into the town, we generate long-term tax revenue. Do I want to hit you for that $1 million and then you don't want to build anything, or do I want long-term 10-year, 20-year, 30-year of tax revenue being created? And when you talk off that long point there, you do have residential back there. But the key is if we have employees and workers coming from out of town to come work here, we've got to get them in, drop some money, fill up the gas tank, buy some lunch, and we've got to get them out. We do not want to go too far into the town to add to the traffic. So the closer that we can create that live, work, play, what you're saying, the closer we can put that to the in and out areas of the town, the better we are.
How will you maintain and enhance the existing residential and commercial character of the town and provide for compatible, appropriate, and high quality development and redevelopment?
Well, what is the look of the town first that we're looking for, right? You see many different buildings go up and they're all different. What are we looking for first? Have we decided that? So that was a big question. Can you let me break that question down? Sorry, go ahead again with that question.
How would you, if elected, maintain and enhance the existing residential and commercial character of the town and provide for compatible, appropriate, and high quality development and redevelopment?
Well, if you look at Coleman Boulevard, let's look at Coleman Boulevard first. My vision for Coleman Boulevard would be something like a downtown Asheville or something like that. Or, obviously I'm going to use this word, so please listen to the whole statement, downtown Greenville, but I do not want buildings that high. Okay. But when you go to that one street, if you've been to it in Greenville, and you can walk the whole street, and there's retail and there's restaurants and you can just hop in and out of different cool little spots. Where is that Mount Pleasant? Where is our downtown Mount Pleasant? We're 93,000 residents. Where is our downtown with parks? So what can we do with Coleman Boulevard to create that special downtown area where we can park and we can walk, and we can walk from Shem Creek, and we can walk all the way up to Royal Ace Hardware, right? So where do we, and you talk about, that's the other shopping center that what I was thinking over there, right? That's one that's eventually probably going to be looking at a live, work, play, high density type of living and work. And what are we going to do about that? Are we going to does a roundabout go in there? What happens? So the key is, where's the master plan? Where's our next 25 years? What do we want the town to look like? We need to listen to the residents, and we need to make sure that we're headed in that direction. I love a downtown area, Park West. They were supposed to have something cool at once, and I believe that got shut down by the town, if I'm not mistaken. So look to other municipalities, look to creating areas. I don't know what everybody up in Park West, Dunes West, and I don't know 100% what their needs are. Okay, I do know they want more restaurants. I do know that they want to be able to work around their house. So the key is to ask the residents what they want, and then we recruit. It's no more Mount Pleasant's open. If you want to come here, come do business. Here's your impact fee. Like it, love it, or leave it. This is what we're looking for, and we're looking for you. We're looking for that special restaurant. We're looking for that mom and pop, not always box. I've got no problem with big box retail. It's needed in some areas. I mean, obviously everybody goes to the Walmarts and the Home Depot and all that. But you know what? When I'm looking for that certain size screw, I go to Royal Ace Hardware, okay? And they grab me by the hand and they take me, and you're never going to get that customer service anywhere else. And when I need a stool for my house, I'm talking about, I go over here and I go get a stool, and I'm talking to the owner, okay? And that is what is needed. We need those small businesses. And we need to work them into the plan. But you can't charge them $250,000. I have an example where the Pelican Snow Cone guy, can I talk about this?
Sure.
Chris moved from Coleman Boulevard to the Imagery Place,
right,
over on what is it? What was
is it Ben Sawyer?
No, it's not Ben Sawyer. Shoot, I just lost it. Was it Bowman? We know where it was. Over kind of by like the Dick's Shopping Center and all
right,
that. And now he's on 17.
Right.
Great guy. He went into an already existing building, water, sewer, land, parking, roof, brick building. He took 1,000 square feet of that building, and he was charged a $9,000 impact fee. $9,000 for when I go see him, he's a one-man operation during the day. And I know that has nothing to do whether you're a one-man operation or 20-man. This is 1,000 square feet in an existing building of $9,000. $9,000 could have put him out of business before he even had the chance to move. I have a problem with that. We've got to take care of him. He is paying taxes. He is employing, I'm assuming he's paying taxes, sorry. He is employing, he's generating revenue. He is employing a bunch of high school kids, by the way, which is awesome. And he's giving to the community. And when you look at our recreation department, and you start to see that kids no longer have sponsors on their shirts, you've got to ask yourself, where's all the small businesses that sponsor our children's shirts? We've got rec department shirts without sponsors on it. We don't have enough small business here. 2017, that dentist office went to go open. I think if you look at Post Courier, 2 to 4 days before she opened, she got a almost $14,000 impact fee invoice that she didn't know she was getting. Do you know how much a dental office sponsors, what they sponsor in a city, and the community involvement that they have in our town? I'm sorry, I used the word city, but the involvement in the amount of sponsorships that comes from a dental office is enormous. They support the town, and these are the small businesses that we need. So
I want to get back to the businesses in just a second, but
okay.
And I was just on Coleman yesterday, right in front of Royal.
Right.
But how many homes in the town have been built at a fairly consistent rate?
I don't even know that answer. I think we have 43,000 doors right now, which is a lot of doors. I mean, that's a lot of doors. That really is. So there has to be, I have people say, John wants more development. I'm like, I understand you think I'm saying that there's more development. I mean, but there's the reality that there is land that is purchased and it is already zoned for development. Do we work with the developers and give them the vision of the town and say we would like this, 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 and this, or do we fight them, try to stop them, get sued, pay the lawsuit, and they build it anyway? There's multiple examples of that happening in our town. I do not know the growth rate of the town. That's an excellent question. Do you know the growth rate of the town? Is that a trick question? How many doors? You got me. This is what happens when you don't do a pre-interview. You got me.
Well, maybe you might know this. What is the median home price in the town of Mount Pleasant?
I thought it was up to $700,000 is what I heard. I thought I heard that 700K. I'm going to say 500K, 700K, but I think basically we're starting at 500K now. I believe it's $700,000, which is why I put a video out on workforce housing. I put a video out on workforce housing about the corner of 526 and 17, and I got slammed. Well, who's going to pay for this housing? I believe we could create a sidewalk from 526 to 17, the back way, to the East Cooper Medical Center. Right. Let's talk to East Cooper Medical Center. How many nurses do they need? Somebody told me that there's a shortage of scrub nurses. Scrub nurses are those nurses that prep for surgery. Biggest profit maker in a hospital? Surgery. Okay? So if they can't perform surgeries, they're not profitable, right? So I believe that we could do something like that. And in the town, I'm not asking the town to pay for that. Let's develop a collaboration between somebody like East Cooper Medical Center and see maybe they can do something about that. Maybe they are looking to house their nurses and their staff. So these are things that we have to look at. I'm just bringing up questions. I mean, this is how ideas happen. You've got to create conversation, and that's what I'm trying to start is conversation.
Okay, you answered it just a little bit, but what current public and private partnerships would you be in favor of expanding for infrastructure in the town of Mount Pleasant?
Ooh, there's a lot of partnerships. I mean, I believe that we have a lot of wonderful sports clubs in this town, and they're fighting for field space, and they're also fighting against the rec department for field space. And I understand that all the field space is rec department field space, but I believe that there could be a collaboration between our clubs and our rec department, and that does not exist right now. I think that we could get clubs to help pay for the fields that are needed. I'm in conversations with the rec department. I'm saying, how long before this field's built? Maybe 15 years. We're really behind. We're short on funding on this. We're short on funding on this. I said, okay, but I know I've talked to clubs, and clubs will build that field and lease it for $1 a year and give it back to you in 15 years. They're going to give it back to you in 15 years. So look, here we go. You're saying you're going to build the field in 15 years with taxpayer money. The club says they'll build the field now with their money, lease it for a year, and in 15 years they give it to you. So this one, the field's available in 15 years, and this one, the field's available in 15 years. This one, the taxpayers pay for it. This one, the club pays for it. And by building the fields now, it frees up current field space for more rec department. So where's the collaboration? There's many models out there right now in other municipalities where the towns Columbia, I believe, collaborates with Columbia collaborates on their soccer club, I believe. They collaborate with the soccer club. So where's the collaboration there? Where's our business roundtable, our environmental roundtable that is inviting business to the area? That type of collaboration. I'm not saying that I want the government to get in the field of business in Mount Pleasant, but there are a lot of very intelligent people in this town on every area of expertise. I mean, the more I get out there, the more I notice. I mean, from riding the bus with the MUSC employees the other morning downtown, and then riding the bus back with the hospitality employees, which was an awesome experience. I wish that bus was a little bit more full with the hospitality workers, because we need them over here, and we need to figure out. So where's the collaboration there? How do we let the businesses know? My location is on I have a catering location right now in West Ashley, and by riding the bus, I figured out what bus line I was on. And when I was talking to people, they told me that they just increased the frequency of that bus line. I think it was the 40, maybe it was the 30 or something like that. I have the brochure, but collaboration between the public transit and the hospitality and being able to get the employees to work using that. I rode the bus with a gentleman that works at Vickery's.
Oh yeah.
And he had his, I saw he had his keychain. I saw he had a car key. I said, "You look like you've got a car. This car key around your belt loop. Why aren't you driving your car?" And he said, "Yeah, I've got a car, but it costs me $1 to get to work. I don't take up a parking space at Shem Creek. And it's just a lot easier for me to get here using my car, and it's a lot more efficient and cost effective. Even though it takes me a little bit more time, I'm saving $100 or more a week on gas by taking the public transportation." So that's a big point. Where's the collaboration between the businesses and letting them know? When I found out what bus line and what the frequency is, I called my HR guy. I said, "You need to start finding out what bus line we are on every city, what times they drop off, and I want you to start advertising that. When you advertise that we're hiring, let them know what bus line we're on. Go ahead, be proactive, right? Be proactive and say, hey, we're on bus line number 30. It's this many stops. It's a 5-minute walk to our shop. We're now interviewing." So the collaboration between the public transportation, the hospitality world, or any business, really. MUSC, not sure if everybody knows, but good time to mention. Walmart in the morning. Both Walmarts are a park and ride. It's an express bus route all the way to downtown, and I was very shocked at the number of employees. And not just MUSC, but obviously that whole area. But there's not a lot of stops. It's an express,
Right.
and it's an express one in the morning. So that's a good thing to look into. Did that answer your question?
Oh yeah, I think it does.
Okay,
Absolutely. And Vickery's has great turkey pita, by the way. But let me take you to Shem Creek, because that's in your backyard. Where should we go with common ground when it comes to the noise level, businesses, parking?
Ooh, parking, good one on that one. Yes, because I just got that's a lot. So at the town council meeting that was brought up, and what I've heard is that the business owners are perfectly happy working with the town. I believe they came up with 85 decibel levels.
Right.
Was the level that they're looking at, and monitoring. And some people said, "Do we find the manager? Do we find the owner?" I think it's the owner. I mean, we don't need to be scaring managers away. The owner could take care of the manager, right? If the owner's fine, if we're fining, but really it's about collaboration and working together. And I believe they went down there with a decibel level, and they were talking to residents. So you're on the phone with the resident saying, "Can you hear it now? Can you hear it?" This was the example that was used. So what I like in that, and that's the same approach I want to bring, is it's not just throwing down the tickets, throwing down the hammer. It's working. I'm talking to the resident. I'm talking to the business owner. I'm adjusting the volume, and we're coming up with a happy medium. And I think that's already starting to happen, and that's what I would like to continue to happen. Parking is a difficult one because, I've gotten a couple messages. It's amazing when you start to run, they think you can start changing things now. I'm like, I'm not in yet. But the parking's tough because, they are charging for parking, and those are some things that people are upset about. But the problem with the parking that they're charging for is like at Water's Edge, for instance. I believe that they own that land back there. They bought the build. There was 2 land purchases. That was the building and the land purchase. Cool. I don't know, but when that land is for sale, and if we buy that land as a town, are we also going to be getting yelled at because the town's not supposed to be in the real estate business? So we have to decide as residents: are we buying land when it's available to create parking, or does somebody else buy it and they're allowed to charge for parking? I mean, Water's Edge bought that land. They have the right to have people park there at their restaurants, and when you go in there, they give you you get free parking with them. So where do we create parking at Shem Creek? That's a difficult one. It's just we're growing so fast. We have so many people visiting that how do you control it? I mean, you've got the issue right now with the boutique hotel as well.
Right.
That's a parking issue as well, right? I think, I think town might have messed up on that one, right? When you build a hotel, our rules say 1 to 2 parking spaces per guest room. What do you mean 1 to 2 parking spaces per guest room? Let's nail down the figures so we stop the questions, right? Is it 1.25? Is it 1.33? Is it 1.5? Is it 10 parking spaces for the first 10 guest rooms and 100 parking spaces for the first 100 guest rooms, and then after that you add, you know what I mean? There's got to be we've got to define these numbers better. They can't just be so vague. But parking at Shem Creek is very difficult. We've got that little bit over there. I don't parking garage, which people are upset about, but is adding a valuable amount of parking, obviously, spaces for parking. It's difficult. They're doing the zoning now in Shem Creek, which is very important. Should have been done, like I said, 25-year plan. If we do a 25-year plan, if we do a master plan, these are the things we can start hammering out. They are rezoning Shem Creek right now. We've got to get on it quick, and get on it once. What's the vision? And let's move on. What other parts of that question did I not answer? So
I was just thinking about Mill Street. Let me take you around the corner, because how is there a 3-year moratorium on home building but not on retail and commercial in your mind?
Over on Mill Street?
Yes, sir.
That's a good, right. That's what has to happen. I mean, what is our plan for Shem Creek, and how, they're just coming out with a brand new zoning again. So, how do we decide what is going in those areas and not going in those areas, and what is the vision of Shem Creek? Shem Creek is special. It's a special area, and my kids used to jump in it. Not so much anymore. So, and I think there are ways that we could clean up our waterways for sure. But what is the plan for the uniqueness and the character of Shem Creek, and then lock it down to the point you can lock it down? But if you have existing buildings and existing zoning in place, how do you stop that? We needed a 25-year plan 25 years ago is the problem. But we're here now, so we need to figure out how we're going to secure the uniqueness of Shem Creek. That is important.
And let me get back to that master plan and comprehensive plan. How would you push for safety measures within the new and existing transportation facilities regionally?
Transportation facilities pertaining to
regionally, I'm sorry.
Like, what do you mean a regional transportation center? I'm sorry. As in?
Yeah, you just mentioned Carter and whatnot. How would you push, for safety measures within the new and existing transportation facilities?
Well, if you want to go look on my Facebook and check out my picture of where I was standing, that was pretty dangerous. Okay, I don't know if you saw that or not, but there's some construction going in. I'm on a corner. We've got to get back to the old school stuff real quick. Knock on a door. Let's go talk to Walmart and say, hey, a lot of your overnight employees. See, a lot of the MUSC park and ride, they're doing exactly that. They're parking and riding. They're sitting in their car until the bus gets there. You can see on your phone. It's awesome, by the way. You see on your phone exactly where the bus is. But the overnight employees of Walmart and some of the surrounding stores around there, they're just standing there. So if you want to talk about safety and security, first of all, are we providing an accurate bus stop? Is there even a bench? Is there covering? The master plan of safety and security, we need sidewalks. I don't know where you live, but I can tell you that riding a bike down Mathis Ferry or walking down Mathis Ferry is extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. When you're a driver going down Mathis Ferry, you've got the trees and you've got the sunlight and the shade and the sunlight and the shade. The next thing you look and there's a person getting ready to cross the road and you're like, holy cow, I didn't see them. So we need one sidewalk all the way down, maybe possibly, I mean, you cross two different ways. So we need to improve our sidewalks. We need to improve our bike paths. And we need to start to do that immediately. We can't wait till somebody gets hurt. Have you been on Mathis Ferry sidewalk before?
Yes, sir. Just recently, last week, just heading
Right.
over to Whipple Road, that is, to get back to Bell Hall. Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean,
Scary.
I mean, it's very scary. I used to ride it in the dark, man. So it's when you want to talk about safety and security, we've got to start with the simple things. I like the micro fixes, right? I'm looking for the micro. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So if we look for the micro fixes of Mount Pleasant Way, bringing the sidewalks, bringing the pedestrian, the bike thoroughfares together, connecting the city that way, reducing traffic will help in safety. Obviously, I don't feel we have, I just scanned the 2020, and I'm going to be putting it on my website. I just scanned the 2020 police, what do they call it? It's right around here somewhere. But, basically what happened in the recap.
Right.
And we have 8 districts in Mount Pleasant. And when you look at those 8 districts for police officers, that means that there's 8. I don't want to get this wrong. There's more than 8 police officers out there, but we only have one police officer per district. When I look at the North area, Park West area, and I look how hard it is to get back in those neighborhoods, and you look, that chunk is huge up there. Like I said, I'm going to scan it, but one enormous chunk. And then as we annex property, we've annexed property up by Arundel,
Right.
we still have to go patrol that area. So I feel we need some more officers for sure. And I would like to bring back, do you remember, you've been here your whole life?
Yes,
Or,
sir. Yes,
do you
sir.
remember about 10 years ago when there'd be an accident, you saw like a police car, but it really wasn't like a newer police car, and then the person was uniformed, but they weren't uniformed as a cop in a full police attire, and I believe were they called CSOs, where there was about 6 people that were hired and trained that if there was an accident, they could go do the scene, obviously not a fatal accident or something like that, or they could take over while the police officer moved on. Now we lost those. We lost them to a. We have to have somebody in the office that has the ability to physically put their hands, because of some new accreditation, physically put their hands on a warrant. Okay, so if somebody calls and said, we've just arrested somebody in Virginia and it states that you've got a warrant out for their arrest, somebody has to literally go over to a filing cabinet, pull that warrant out and say, yes, we do have that warrant. Okay, I don't know if I'm boring you with it, but we lost all those officers to that. We need to bring some more of those officers back. If your car were to be broken into, for instance, and there is no more criminal activity happening, right? Somebody spray painted a wall, or if there's some destruction of property, but there was no threat. You could get one of these, I believe it's CSO. You could get one of these officers there and leave the police patrolman on the streets. You can get one of those officers there. They were trained to do fingerprinting. They were trained to look at the crime scene, take pictures, and all those wonderful things. And at a taxpayer savings, by the way, it costs about $125,000 to put a police officer in uniform here, right? Once you put the police car and things of that sort. So there's cost savings and safety and an increase in safety with those officers. On the regional side as well, I mean, I'm big on CARTA. I'm big on using that. What did I answer your question all the way? I know I go on my little.
I think you answered sufficiently.
Right.
You talked about annexation. How should the town plan to slow outward expansion of the town limits and focus on making necessary changes within the town limits?
Heard that. We have donut holes, right? These are pockets of land within the town already that are, they're using, I mean, they have the potential. They're on the streets. They're adding traffic. The one thing that's dangerous about our donut hole is this. One thing that people don't want more of is storage units. if we do not work with people and put the right building on that land and annex them into the town, that means connecting them to our water and sewer, creating tax revenue. Okay, right now that piece of land, if it has something on it, is still utilizing, they're still congesting our roads, but they're not adding to our tax revenue. Richards, for instance, way back in the day, that was a donut hole, which why, when the smoking ordinance went through, there wasn't a county ordinance yet, so he didn't have to follow it because he wasn't technically in the town of Mount Pleasant, if you remember that.
Right.
See, that's how old school I remember Richards, okay? How many candidates remember Richards? The thing about the donut holes, we need to focus there. Right? We need to focus on getting the donut holes into the town and generating tax revenues for the town. Or the one thing that you could put on that is a storage unit. And the reason you can do that is you can run a storage unit on a septic tank because it only needs one toilet. Okay? So, and the one thing the town's trying to get rid of, septic tanks. Septic tanks, especially near Sham Creek, are starting to leach into Sham Creek, right? And we have is it a low water table or a high water table that you would call what we have? But, septic tanks, we're trying to get rid of them in the town. And the one thing a donut hole allows is for somebody to put a storage unit. They don't have to connect to our water and sewer to become a storage unit. And they're creating a septic tank to do that. I'd rather see us create 500 jobs on that piece of land instead of 2 jobs, right? 3 jobs with a storage unit, with revenue that we're not bringing into the town, yet people are driving to there and everything else. So let's get those donut holes into the town. That would be my focus for sure.
For sure. What is the labor force in the town of Mount Pleasant?
How many people are working in the town of Mount Pleasant?
Oh, you can talk about that.
I don't know that I know that answer, so I don't know. What is our labor force mix? Or, I don't, that's a good question. Boy, you stumped me finally. Is this getting stumped? I thought this was only a 5-minute interview. Why did you cut me off at 5 minutes? Well, we're obviously heavy on. We're heavy on hospitality. We're lacking on professional jobs. We had the opportunity. I bring up the Miller Cadillac one. We had the opportunity to bring a bunch of professional jobs to Mount Pleasant, leave the height at 80 feet. It was going to be, I would have worked with the developers on that. I would have said, that's great. But we want live, work, play here. We'd like a little park. We would like, let's keep the 80 feet because everything's high all there already. Can we get some workforce housing in here? And can we generate some revenue? We had commitments, I believe, from Mount Pleasant residents, downtown professional office business owners. So they live in Mount Pleasant and they're going to downtown. That's more traffic. They were going to bring their offices to Mount Pleasant. And that would have generated revenue for us. And we lowered the ceiling on 6 to 65 feet. We need more professional jobs in Mount Pleasant. And we need to bring the hospitality workers over using that CARTA system for sure.
How many people in the town, you probably noticed because you're obviously a small business owner, but how many people in the town have turned down jobs due to unemployment benefits?
Oh boy, right? What I was having that conversation before. What is the break even, right? If I don't have to go to work and buy lunch and buy a bus ticket or pay gas or have a car or all these things, even if my unemployment is $300, what's the real break even, right? What do I need to make me really go back to work? We thought there was going to be a big influx of employees, and I saw this on the news as well, once the federal unemployment went away, but it's not happening. The impact that it's having right now, you've got hotels that just aren't opening entire floors because they don't have housekeeping. You have restaurants that are just closing. So the impact on it is enormous, and we've got to get people back to work, and I'm big on that. Now you got to give the benefits as well. You can see that I have about 85 employees, and I started as one, just me, and we have health benefits, dental, vision. We match 76% on our health, and I was just actually on one of those boring C-SPAN things in front of Congress. I don't know if you saw or not, with Senator Tim Scott. And we're one of the first companies in the entire nation to implement a retirement plan that was put through on the Secure Act of 2019, allowing small businesses and anybody, please call me on this and I'll help you, allowing small businesses to take the fiduciary responsibility off of themselves and have somebody helping them with that. So your employees were being taken care of and that you were doing the right thing at a low cost. I implemented due to the Secure Act and due to Congress putting this through in 2019, right. They want to say I'm the first small business in the entire country, but we're saying I'm one of the first because we're not 100% sure, but I believe I am the first. And it allows a company, a small business, to implement a retirement plan at $25 or $2,600 a year is my cost, and that's spread apart around 4 quarters. I am now matching my employees. If an employee at Iacafano has put 5% of their pay into retirement, I'm matching at 4%. So I match 100% on the first 3%, 50% on the 4 and 5%. These are the things that if we can teach people and let them know that companies are going to take care of them 360 degrees of their life, from medical to vacation to retirement, that's going to get the workforce back. And we need to get small businesses on these plans so that we can get the workforce back and they know that we're taking care of their entire life, and we want to take care of their family, and that's important.
How do you help local businesses boost their competitiveness among other businesses that are actually coming into the town of Mount Pleasant?
Well, not only in the town of Mount Pleasant, but I lost a cook, and she went to go make $2 less an hour because this large corporation offered retirement. I did not. And I said, it's coming soon, it's coming soon. Well, coming soon and being there are two different things. Now, we did implement it. Like I said, in July, we started it. And the funny thing is, the same day that I opened up the sign-ons was the same day that I was testified in front of Congress. Okay. But you not only have to get competitive with other small businesses, that's not the threat. The threat is, it's not a threat. They're great for the economy, but it's very easy to leave me and go to Boeing, go to Volvo, and they've got great benefits and packages and things of that sort. And we've got to help small businesses get competitive with that. Competitive with that is medical, is retirement. I think retirement sometimes is, to a lot of people, is more important than medical, but it has to be affordable. It can't break the back of the small business. Like I said, this new act that went through, it is very, very, very competitive and affordable, and I'm able to match. So where is our business alliance? Where is their we have the Chamber of Commerce. We have a lot of great things in this town, but where is something that I can teach small businesses how to become better, but they're working 80 hours a week. So they can't skip and go to lunch and go to a meeting, right? They can't skip and go somewhere. Where do we develop something that we're going to the business and they can give us 10 minutes? And I'm obviously not the person for it because I can't get it done in 10 minutes. I talk way too long. I'm not going to get it done in 10 minutes. We'll send somebody else besides me. But where do we educate quickly, efficiently, and give them the resources to become competitive? That's the key. I believe that's going to be a regional type of effort, a tri-county type of effort. Could be initiated by me, could be initiated by anybody. But I think it's a tri-county effort. Here's where we're at. Here's your email. Watch this video. Give me 5 minutes. We can help you with this, and this. And we'll come to you to do it because you've got to become competitive or you're going to be out of business. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? You've got restaurants that could be generating so much tax revenues and putting money into the hands of the small business owner, which supports the local economy, and they're having to close shifts. Retail stores are having to close multiple days because they can't staff. So we've got to be able to offer the benefits, and we've got to be able to easily put these packages in the hands of the small business owner because they're working 80 hours a week. They don't have time to go to a meeting. So that's hopefully that answers the question.
How have retail and commercial development followed the increase in the number of households as Mount Pleasant continues to grow?
That's a good question. I would have liked to have seen the retail and commercial follow a little bit closer to community based, right? I'm big on these little bubbles, right? Where can I ride my bike to? That is what I'd like. I don't think we followed that. If you drive around Mount Pleasant, we've got very large shopping centers. We've got very big box retail stores. I don't think I could take us back to the 50s, okay? But I mean, Royal Ace Hardware, go see John Royal over at Royal Ace Hardware, right? I mean, it doesn't get any more community based than that. Where do we create some more of that? And that's the direction we need to be heading. And we need the impact fees to follow that. Okay, you can adjust your impact fees to what you're trying to recruit. So I think we've gone more big box, huge retail centers, and I would like to see more mixed use, community based, in the center. Ride your bike, jog, walk, and know the person that you're buying from. And that person, by the way, is probably going to also sponsor the rec department with some t-shirts, right?
What is the current tax base in the town of Mount Pleasant?
Current, like as in millage, or when you say tax base, you mean?
Oh, what you just talked about, revenue and whatnot.
Oh, well, 59% of it comes from businesses. I do not know what percentage of that comes from impact fees. I believe we have $115 million, $130 million business here in the town of Mount Pleasant. It is, the town. This is a business we're running, and 59% comes from business revenue. I'd like to see that a little higher. Or what happens if you don't get more business revenue is, property tax is going to go up. I mean, so let's attack the business revenue first and see if we can get some long-standing 5-year, 10-year, 20-year business revenue, 30 years of these businesses creating tax revenue. That's going to be one of the things that we should attack first. Can we get that 59% to 70% or 65%? Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Do you believe that if and when the town moves towards slower growth rates, that revenue streams might get smaller?
Growth is inevitable, right? And the slower growth, that can happen. It's about right growth. It's about having the right growth. So if you have the right growth, I know I'm repeating myself here, but if you have the right growth, you put the right pieces of the puzzle in the right spots of the puzzle to create a complete puzzle, right? It's about right growth, smart growth. Then it's not necessarily about slow growth at that point. It's about the right growth, putting the right pieces of the puzzle where they're needed. And that's getting out and asking the residents what they need. It's really that simple. Like I said, one of the biggest things, I'm very fortunate where I live, and you're fortunate, sounds like, where you live as well. You have a lot, you're in Bell Hall or so, you have a lot around there. Go to the north area, it's not so much, right? We're very fortunate where we live in Mount Pleasant. We're very fortunate how what we have available to us. So I'm about smart growth. I'm about making sense on where something goes and why it goes there, and I'm about recruiting for those for those businesses to be where they need to be so they can be successful, so that we don't just have empty buildings. And I think that's important.
You talk about Bell Hall. Besides Bell Hall, let's talk about places like 6 Mile, 10 Mile. What other local communities in Mount Pleasant should be enhanced, protected, and elevated?
Is all an easy answer? That's an easy answer. I don't think, I love Shem Creek. Everybody save Shem Creek, save Shem Creek, which I'm about. But I care just about much about Save Shem Creek as I do about a park being needed over on Rifle Range that we're working on, right? We have 125 county acres and 125 town acres. The county has started. When are we going to start that, right? When you talk about 6 Mile, when you talk about, that's right about 6 Mile, right? Right around there. Where's that park? I'm not saying that I'm not going to utilize that park. I think it'd be beautiful, but the community of 6 Mile, that's their park. When are we going to start it? So when you talk about enhancing areas, we got to get these projects starting. Problem is we don't have the funding, from what I hear. And that's, that's an issue. So to enhance these areas, where do we get the funding from it? And how do we make sure that we are evenly dispersing the recreation department and the sidewalks and the bike thoroughfares, to the right areas evenly? And that's understanding that we are one town and that all of us need to be taken care of in this town. So I think it's important to get after those projects.
And how do you hope the town will work with the waterworks to identify and provide opportunities in the settlement communities to better connect them with sewer and water?
Right. So is the issue is that the settlement communities are pretty much in a donut hole? Is that are they right? That's a good question. I've never been asked that. Thank you for that little stump. That's the second stump of the day. But no, settlement communities are very important, right?
Yes.
Been here a long time, very long time. So it's their choice on whether or not they want to annex into the town of Mount Pleasant. If they don't want to annex into the town of Mount Pleasant, then there does have to be a level of quality of life and understanding. It's really kind of crazy, right? You can't have this beautiful water that we have in the town of Mount Pleasant, because town of Mount Pleasant used to not have the greatest water in the world. You didn't drink it, right? Way back in the day. And now we have reverse osmosis. But it's very important that we do not allow people to suffer and not have a quality of life or the quality of water that we have available right there at their back door. I think it's something that can be worked on. I know that waterworks technically, they're part of the town, not part of the town. They're their own entity. Right. So it's something that we can definitely go after and figure out. Let me ask you a question. What have you heard on the settlement communities wanting to connect? They don't want to annex in, is that correct? But yet they want to connect to the water and sewer?
That's probably I think that's what you're hearing from people as well.
Right. So I'm not going to, you've got to allow people to have a certain quality of life. And if it's sitting right there, how can we deprive people? So I think it's something that definitely has to be looked at and worked on.
And you talk about the settlement communities, and obviously Mount Pleasant is growing, as you know. What is the historical population trend for the town?
Historical population trend is in, can you describe that question a little bit more?
Obviously Mount Pleasant was a sleepy small town many years ago, and now it's 93,000 according to figures. What is the historical population trend in your mind?
Well, I want to make sure that we preserve our arts and history. I don't know that we're doing, I don't know. I was just talking about the sweetgrass baskets actually this morning. And so we set up all those things along the road. How easy are those really to get to and not get to? How much are we preserving those beautiful sweetgrass baskets, and how easy are we making it for people to turn in and out and purchase those? When I talk about the rec department, although it's a lot of sports, I understand, where's the arts? Where's the arts building? So how are we going to preserve the history of Mount Pleasant is more important. Why did we build those buildings outside of Carolina Park with the advertising on it, right? Why can't those be why can't they be in a nice shelter right there for sweetgrass baskets? Why don't we put a little parking lot there and have that for sweetgrass baskets and help to enhance and preserve, unless they're perfectly happy where they're holding their businesses now. But how do we preserve the arts? How do we teach the next generation about the history of Mount Pleasant? Right? There's an old, somebody told me over by Oyster Point,
Right.
I believe it is, that there's like an old trench that runs that the boats used to come in and out of, and I never heard of that in my life. So it's about enhancing the arts, culture, and history of Mount Pleasant, and I think that's important. Where's our community center? Where's our community center that has a senior center in it, has rentable rooms in it, has arts center in it? Where's our large community center, has the basketball courts in it, that we come together at, and arts being a big important part of that? Where's the sweetgrass classes being held in that, sweetgrass basket classes being held in that community center? We need to create the arts, and we need to create the opportunity to tell the history of Mount Pleasant and to teach the history of Mount Pleasant, which, when I talk about roundtables, what a great roundtable that would be of our residents, and I think that's something we can put in place.
I got two last questions for you, John. What is the future as far as the culture core of Mount Pleasant?
What's the future of the culture core? As in, where are we like in 25 years? What does Mount Pleasant's culture look like in 25 years? Well, culture, the culture needs to be created. We put a 25-year plan in place. We have that 25-year plan that has a culture around the history of Mount Pleasant, around teaching our children, around recreation, parks, getting outside and being part of the community, an environmental culture that preserves our environment, and make sure that we save the waterways and Shem Creek and things of that sort. If we don't establish something on where we need to be in 25 years, I don't know that we're going to have a stated culture. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It's an excellent question, because when I think about the culture of Mount Pleasant, it's a little choppy right now, right? It's a bit choppy, and we need to bring that together. I would like to see a culture of this great community, but community surrounded by arts and preserving what we have, and preserving as much land as possible, and creating a livable quality of life, workable quality of life environment for us.
Who can bring the town together as far as mayor?
Ooh, you got me on that one too. I'm going for this 1, 2, 3. I believe Kathy Landing wants to lower impact fees. I know Will Haney wants to raise impact fees. That's a big difference I have. I believe in long-term tax revenue and supporting small businesses and allowing them to grow. And I don't think hitting them hard in the beginning with a high impact fee is the way to do that. So I am for a mayor that wants to enhance our parks and recreation. We have 30 acres of land that's already been approved to be bought, and a 6-3 vote. And then at the last town meeting, it tried to get overturned. So there's certain people that are trying to overturn that. If you don't buy that 30 acres of land, then that gets bought by a developer, right? And then it gets developed. And we need parks and recreation up there as well. So we need the land for parks and recreation. So I am for I am for a council and I am for a mayor that wants to lower impact fees, wants to increase the quality of life of the town of Mount Pleasant by fixing our sidewalks, fixing our pedestrian thoroughfares, by creating small pockets of community, and by increasing the amount of space that we have for our kids to live and play and become part of the community on. I think that leans a little bit more to Kathy Landing than it does to Will Haney.
John Iacofano, thank you so much for your time. And again,
Thank
welcome
you.
to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Likewise.